What's up, everybody? It's the Vegans Who Live podcast with your two favorite vegan hosts. We got myself, John Thomas, aka the Bodybuilding Vegan, and the one, the only, the amazing, my best friend, Brooke Sellers, aka Miss Meatless Muscle. What's up, dude?
Quite an intro. I love it. Hey, something different. We got to keep people on their toes.
Yeah, we'll call it that. We'll find the silver lining here. But
Speaking of the
I'm
people,
yes. Today we already know we're doing some Q and A's. Y'all people have been awesome. Y'all people, I don't even know what's wrong with me right now, but you have been going to veganswholivepodcast.com and submitting some voice questions for us to answer. Brooke and I have not heard these. We are not prepped. This is unscripted, raw, unfiltered. You're gonna get our honest takes. So we'll promise to be as nice as we can. Hopefully, we got good questions. I can only imagine we are. We have amazing listeners. So I'm ready to jump in. Are you ready?
yeah, let's go for it.
All right. Whenever Sean's ready, he's going to cue us up. He's always in the back making sure things run smoothly here. So big shout out to him. Could not do this alone.
Okay, I have two questions. First, what are your tips to engaging the correct muscles during each exercise? And secondly, what are your tips to getting enough water every day in your body? Do you use a specific kind of bottle? What are your best tips? Thanks.
Good questions.
Boom. That's Rachel, aka Rachel Next Level Fitness, my current client and one of our former academy graduates. She's awesome. I do appreciate her asking this because this is a couple of really good things. So engaging muscle groups, the intended muscle groups. What do you have for her, Brooke?
Engaging the intended muscle groups. It's hard for me to say because I've been doing this so long that it's really easy for me to. And I just kind of know my own cues now. I mean, look, I'm a big believer in feeling the movement where you're supposed to feel it. I know a lot of people just go through the motions. Like RDLs, I think, are a great example. Like if you're feeling that in your low back and you're supposed to be feeling it in your glutes and your hamstrings, something's wrong. So I would say maybe recording yourself can be really helpful, to see if your form is off, because almost always if you're not feeling it in the right place, it's either a form issue. And I do think in some rare circumstances, some exercises just aren't good for certain people. Like some exercises just don't really work for certain people's bodies in some cases, but most of the time, I would say 80% of the time, it's going to be a form issue. So if you don't feel the right muscles engaging, I would definitely record yourself doing it. And then second to that, I would say work with a coach, because every muscle group has different cues, and someone who's experienced will be able to tell you that. So like, for example, if you're doing like a lat pull down and you're feeling it more so in your biceps than in your lats, then you can do little things like, instead of like having your whole hand wrapped around the bar, place your thumbs like on the bar. I'm sure you know that one. Changing your grip a little bit. So, and it's going to be different for every muscle group. So like, that's how to take the movement out of your arms and put it in your lats. But some people struggle with feeling their glutes when they should be feeling their hamstrings, and vice versa, feeling their quads when they should be working glutes. And there's so many different little cues for each exercise even. So I would say work with a coach, someone who does form videos, and review your own form videos as well.
That's phenomenal advice. And this is why we have this podcast with the two of us, because you get two takes. And I wasn't going to say work with a coach, but that's because I already do, and I already work with clients. So I just blanket assume that you're already doing that. Great point. There's two phenomenal coaches on this podcast. If you guys don't know already, I'm going to slightly plug that in there. What I was going to say on the cues, people might not know this, but like, I feel like cues are huge, but cues are so individual. I've even worked with people in person, and like I know they'll figure it out, but I got to say it 100 different ways. Finally, I say it one way correctly that clicks with them, and they've got it down perfectly. So, like for the lat pull down, drive with your elbows is one thing that a lot of people would be told by me. That's how I would start that one. Definitely getting the correct grip and all of those things, but driving with your elbows. If you think about your elbows instead of your hands, you're more likely to use your lats instead of your biceps. So big thing there. I think as far as I'll even say this with Rachel in person, she was strong enough to use a certain weight on a rowing machine. However, when we lowered the weight a little bit and forced her to really focus on contracting her back versus just moving the bar, she's like, oh, I really feel that. So a lot of people, you need to leave your egos at the door and drop the weight, myself included. I did a chest workout yesterday on the hammer incline press. I'm pretty strong every now and then. I've done 5 plates. I've done 5 plates for reps. Yesterday, I did another machine first and did some pre-exhaustion work. So, like doing flies or like an isolation exercise to kind of really mentally wake up that muscle. Like, really get a pump in your chest on flies, and then go bench. And tell me you don't feel that bench better. I only went to 3 plates on that hammer press, and my chest is sore as hell today because I just forced on not moving the weight, but just all I thought the whole time was like, squeeze your chest as hard as you can, squeeze your chest as hard as you can. That's the difference between a bodybuilder and just somebody that throws around weight in the gym or a power lifter. So, pre-exhaustion, dropping the weight a little bit, mind muscle connection, those will all really help somebody that's trying to engage the correct muscle group. Another thing, I'll shut up. If you're going too heavy on lat pull downs, you might feel it in your bicep because your lats aren't strong enough to do the movement by themselves. So they're going to try and recruit other muscle groups. Or maybe your lats are strong enough for the first 8 reps, but the last 4, you're trying to really squeeze them out and you're using every other muscle group that your body has. So yeah, possibly dropping the weight.
Yeah, that's a good one. My mind didn't even go there, but tempo work is great if you're struggling with mind muscle connection. Because like you said, most people are just lifting too much. And if you really, really slow that movement down and pause reps, so like if we use the same example of like a lat pull down and like when you're at the bottom of the movement and you have the bar like close to your chest, if you pause for 1 second there, you should really feel your lats working. So just slowing the movement down is huge.
100%. Yep. I literally reviewed a client's footage this morning, and he was using a good bit of swing to get the pull down to his chest on every single rep. And like he had full range of motion, but I could just tell from the video he was not squeezing his lats at the bottom. The second that bar touched his chest, it was flying back up. And he was missing out on some of the gains that he could have been having. For the water, oh my gosh, I have people that are ready to use steroids, that want to eat everything in the world and want to train 5 hours a day, and they can't drink half a gallon of water, and it blows my mind. Like
That's a
you
huge
think
one for my clients too. That is the hardest thing for my clients to do is get their water in, which is so surprising to me.
I can stick a needle in my butt, but I can't drink 8 ounces of water. It blows my mind. So what I suggest, on my link tree, there's a link to my Amazon page. I have this like life changers page, and one of my life changers is half gallon blender bottle brand jug. And what I like about it, the mouth is really wide, so I can take the lid off and like put in electrolyte mix if I want, some meal if I want it flavored, a ton of ice if it's a hot day, and that thing's half a gallon. So my thought process is almost everybody listening to this probably needs a gallon of water a day if they're trying to be a bodybuilder, maybe even up to 2. So what I would say is keep that with you. Always have water all the time, and then you don't have an excuse not to drink. Like carry it around everywhere you go. And then if you're still having trouble getting 2 of those in a day, set an alarm on your phone that goes off every 90 minutes. Every time it's 90 minutes, like chug 8 ounces, 12 ounces of water, and you'll get it in the day. I would also say, like, be mindful, like, more than just water counts as liquid. Like, I'm drinking tea right here. I have some green tea. To me, that's liquid. That counts towards that gallon and a half that I need each day. It's not going to dehydrate you. The only thing that really dehydrates you is alcohol, and probably shouldn't be drinking a ton of alcohol, especially during the day, if you're trying to be a bodybuilder. But that's what I have for water.
Yeah, that's good. I tell my clients if you're really, really having trouble, set an alarm on your phone for every hour. Just chug a bunch of water. I do think a really good way to start your day is to just go ahead, start with like 16 to 20 ounces. Just as soon as you wake up, just chug a bunch of water. It's easier too because you're so dehydrated already from sleeping. Um, and like for me, I just have like my morning gut health cocktail in 20 ounces of water with my ACV, my L-glutamine, my lemon juice, whatever, mix that all together. That's an easy 20 ounces gone. And, but whatever you're doing, if you don't want to prioritize gut health, you could do like your greens or like, I don't know, whatever people want to do. But that's a really easy way to just start your day. And I think like for me, what really helps me is having just like little things to make my water taste better, because if it tastes better, I'm going to drink more of it. So like, yeah, my veg nutrition greens, that's actually what I have right now. It just tastes really good. It tastes like sweet tea. So this is like another easy way for me to get like 20 ounces in. There are some pretty good water flavors out there. You just have to be careful with some of them because some of them are, like they've red 40, yellow 5, like tons of neurotoxins and crap in it. So you just got to be careful. I think Stir is a really good brand. Bolero is a pretty good brand as well. Just make sure you read the ingredients, but I think flavoring your water is good too. Even like lemon and lime. Like if you could just go the all natural route. Like I'll do lemon and stevia and that's delicious to me. Like that's so good. It's like kind of like a little lemonade. So and definitely make sure that you have some like a big water bottle when you're working out, because that's one of the easiest times that you can get a whole bunch of water in, like between your sets. You're actively losing water and like during your cardio, so it should be easier for you to get that water in. And like I have a big giant gallon jug that I just let sit on my counter all day, and I fill it in the morning, and then I just fill up my little shaker cup with that all day. And then I work from home, but even if you didn't work from home, you could take the half gallon to work with you, and it just like the visual of it sitting there and seeing how much water is left also really helps me, because I'll look at it and I'll be like, oh my God, like it's 3 p.m. and I still got so much to go. Like, let me drink a whole bunch of water. So, yeah, I definitely feel like that's a really good route, and they're so affordable on Amazon. It's easy to find one.
$15. And
Yeah.
Blender Bottle has a lifetime warranty. So I bought 2. They're going to last me the rest of my existence. Like, come on. I think having it nearby, we're on the podcast. If I didn't have this right here, that's an hour that's going to go by that I'm not hydrating. So making sure to keep these close by. But yeah, no need to, I was going to say beat a dead horse, but that's not very vegan of me. I think we've dropped some rock solid suggestions here. All right, let's do the next one. Sean, if you could please.
Hey, this is Alex Welch, aka Yabonks, and I have a question for John and Brooke on the Vegans Who Lift podcast. So I was wondering, how long would it take a normal person like myself to get a 6-pack like John? Thank you.
Alex, aka Yabonks, I love you, dude. I mean, shit, he's almost there right now. He came off this little
He's
12-week
shredded.
cut. He's pretty shredded. I think he surpassed me. At least in my eyes. I feel I'm a little heavier right now in the off season. I guess to generalize that for anyone though, it kind of depends on 3 things. One, how much fat are you carrying right now? You see how nicely I said that? I was gonna say, how fat are you? How much fat are you carrying right now? And then the other things that would play into that, some of it is like genetics, like where your body fat is stored. Like some people don't store fat in certain places, some people do. And then lastly, actually ab training. If you do directly train your abs, I really like hanging leg raises and planks. I don't like them. I hate them, but they work well. If you have bigger abdomen muscles, your abs will kind of poke through whatever fat you do have. So they'll stick out a little bit more. So, Alex, you're already ahead of me. Maybe you asked this question many months ago, but I don't think you did. I just think you don't see yourself as beautiful as you are. And then, yeah, so everybody's gonna be a little bit different. That's all I got for that. I don't know how else to answer it.
Yeah, you really can't put a timeline on it because everybody's going to be different. Like, it really is so dependent on where your current body fat percentage is. Like, if you're a woman and you're already at 18% body fat, I mean, it could take you 4 to 6 weeks, you know. But if you're looking at 30%, you're like more in that obesity category.
Yeah.
Maybe a year. You know,
Yeah.
depending on how fast you go, and like you said, genetics. Like, some people are more pear shaped, so they have a lot of fat in their lower body, and then some people are apple shaped, and they like all of their fat is in their stomach, and it's gonna be really hard. So there's really no way to put a number on it. It's so dependent on where your composition is currently at. But I will say it is really hard to get a six pack. So you know that's definitely a marathon, not a sprint, because all the other
Yeah.
body fat's got to come off too before you see the six pack.
Especially, I think you speaking for yourself and for women, like it's
Yes.
much more significantly difficult for a woman to get that level of leanness throughout evolution. Women have tended to carry more fat because they need to protect babies, protect their abdomens, and have energy to make milk for the babies. Newsflash: women make milk for babies, not cows, but women. Um, I think I'm funny. But yeah, so it's much more difficult for a woman to get to that level of leanness versus a man. So I think most guys can, not necessarily easily, but like if you lock in with a diet and don't have any major hangups along the way, you should be able to get abs. And I've helped some clients get abs for the first time in their life, and it was a pretty exciting experience for them. I think it's funny how, like, I don't know, you go look at statues like 2,000 years ago. I don't know about the men, but the women have like really big boobs because like that's a sign of fertility. So like that's like what society thought was cool back then. And flash forward to now, it's like everybody cares about abs. So I wonder, I don't know if people a few thousand years are like, what's with this abdomen obsession? But anyways, all right, I digress. I don't know
Yeah.
where that
And it's
comes
like kind
from.
of the opposite now because being really lean is actually makes you really not very fertile. So
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
funny how much our beauty standards have changed.
Oh, that's weird. Yeah. Humans are weird. Um,
Yeah.
all right, I think we're ready for the next one. I don't know where I'm going with this one.
Hi there. My question is not really vegan related, but it's more related to competitors and post competition life. So there are different approaches when it comes to reversing out of prep. And I wondered what your guys' approaches were like. I've heard of the slow reverse, slowly increasing your calories to get your body back to maintenance. And then I've also heard the opposite kind of where it's getting to your maintenance calories as soon as humanly possible because you want to get back into a building phase really fast. So I'm just curious how you guys approach the reverse process after a show.
Good question.
Former client of mine, Samantha, shout out to you. I think her handle, oh God, I should remember. I think it's like SW Fitness or SW Wellness. Her first and last initial, and then wellness or fitness, something like that. I should know this. Horrible. Normally, I go on my phone, I type the S, and the rest of it pops up, but I'm not on my phone right now. But anyways, she recently competed, so that's probably why she's asking this question. Brooke, for you or for your clients, how do you set that up post show or
Yeah,
post maybe even post intense diet? It would work for both.
yeah. I always think slow and steady is the best way to go. That's just typically how anything with your body works. Is it's a slow process. Um, and also getting feedback from the client and then assessing and then making adjustments, because it's gonna be dependent on their feedback as well. I mean, if you're up 8 pounds in a few weeks post show, then you're like, okay, we got to put the brakes on here, we got to figure out what's going on and kind of troubleshoot this. But I think easing into higher calories is always going to be better, especially because at least from J3U, when I took that course, that post-show period, you're just so susceptible to like really quickly gaining body fat. So you just have to be a little bit careful. Also, your hormones are just in the toilet. So, hunger hormones are all over the place, leptin and ghrelin. I mean, you're just in a really, and, you're dehydrated. Your body just goes through a lot post-show. So I think slow and steady is always the best way to go. And then how quickly you're increasing calories, I think, that's going to be largely dependent on the feedback and the check-ins that you're getting from the client. And it's going to be a little bit different for everybody.
I think you nailed it. I think I will go with the disclaimer of hire a good coach.
Yeah.
Don't do this alone. Trust me, if you don't have a plan laid out, you're gonna get. I was gonna say gonna get fucked. I guess I can say whatever I want on here. Yeah, you're gonna get fucked if you don't have a good coach and you don't have a plan laid out. I've seen people where their coach says just eat healthy post show. Like I'm like, what the hell does that mean? I'll talk to you in a week. Like no, like I'm calling my client after the show. Once they get their finals placing, I'm calling them to say tomorrow or tonight you can go have a meal with your family, and then we're getting on another call to explain exactly what you're gonna do for me the next 8 weeks. And I don't know how the whole 8 weeks planned, but I'll give them at least that first week of plan, and then we'll base it just like everything else as we go. There's two big schools of thought of this, and one is the John Meadows approach, and he is kind of opposite of J3U. His thought process is let's get some body fat back on you almost immediately. Let's go eat some, maybe not junk food, but higher calorie foods, get some fat back on you, because once that happens, once you have some more body fat on you, you start to think more rationally. You start to feel more full when you eat. I think it's a good adherence thing. It's almost like let's maybe take one step back so that we can continue making progress forward. And I know that works for some people. I am more of Brooke's side with the J3U University style, with the kind of, I would say, conventional style of pulling out of prep slowly, but let's also quantify slowly. I know some people that reverse diet and they had like 5 grams of carbs per week. So if you're at 200 carbs the day of your show, you're at 205 for that next week, and then 210. That'll almost never work. And you're still in a deficit. So you're going to be losing weight.
Yeah.
So I think getting back up to maintenance quickly is probably a good idea. Let's say you're a bikini competitor at 1,500 calories. And your maintenance is maybe 2,000. Let's just put you back at maintenance. But you're still going to be doing cardio. So you might still be losing weight during this time frame. I'm gonna break it down section by section as quickly as I can. Drugs. If you're an enhanced competitor, we're probably still going to keep something like a derivative like testosterone in play for a little bit. Anything that's like cardiotoxic, neurotoxic, or just downright unhealthy, liver toxic, so orals, tren, anything like that, that's coming out. We don't need that. We want to get you healthy. We might keep a test base in there. It'll help with nutrient partitioning and help you maintain performance for a little bit before we pull it out. So that's just covering the enhanced side. Non-enhanced side, creatine, things like that, that will stay in, of course. If you're on fat burners, whether enhanced side fat burners like Clen or natural fat burners like Yohimbine, we're probably gonna like the week after cut those in half. Like after you get off stage, next day, half of what you're doing, and then the week after that, maybe even half of that again, and then probably pull them completely. But they've already been helping us maintain this leanness. Again, I feel like it's less stress on the body to taper those down than pull them out completely. Then for diet, we're going to be adding back in, probably adding in, believe it or not, protein. I want to push protein high for 2 reasons. One, if there's any chance of building muscle, it's going to be happening now. And 2, protein is very satiating. It's going to keep you more full, less likely to binge and go way off plan. Then mix between the rest between carbs and fats. Like Brooke's fats are super low right now. I would probably push her fats up, possibly even before I push up her carbs, just as a health measure. Probably both at the same time, realistically, post-show. Then cardio. If you're doing 6 sessions of an hour a day leading up into your show, you can't just go to 0 sessions. And in my eyes, I don't think that's healthy. I think what would be better is cutting down on the number of days, maybe 4 or 5 days instead of 6. And then that first week back, maybe 40, 45 minutes instead of an hour. Then that next week, cutting down. And then I'll cut people down until they're at about 4 sessions of 20-ish minutes a week. Same thing with steps. If they were at 15,000 steps, we'll pull down to 12, then down to 10. And kind of just ease them out of this as opposed to just pulling the floor right out from under them. So I think I covered everything there that I could think of, but that's and I actually send my clients right back to training usually, because if they've eaten a lot of food on Saturday, they're gonna have a good workout on Sunday. Maybe we don't do the heaviest leg workout, but go get an arm pump, shoulder pump, get some of that food moving, and you're gonna feel better, especially if you ate a lot the night of the show. All right, that was a lot.
Yeah, I agree completely. Yeah, 5 grams of carbs per week. If that was my reverse, I would be extremely upset. I'd be like, oh my God. Yeah. So it's like, yeah, slow, but like we mean a reasonable pace. Yeah, like you said, I mean, I even think if you could add, I mean, depending on how your body responds, 100 calories at a time, I think that would be really beneficial. But also, like you said, there's more, it's more than just the diet part. And I think people forget about that when they think reverse diet. And I'm glad that you covered all of that, because it's also about your energy output too. You're going from an extreme energy output, and you also have to taper that down, because some bikini girls are doing an hour and a half cardio, and I mean that's not sustainable. You can't do that long term. So you also have to factor that into your reverse, and like you said, all the supplements and all of that. So yeah, it's definitely, I feel like most people, they're going to need guidance with the reverse.
Yeah. If you've gotten to where you have significant abs, if you've gotten on stage, some people can be self-coached. If you're that person, you're probably not asking this question. Or I don't mean anything that towards Samantha. It's just like, if you're at that level where you think you can handle it, then you're probably at that level. But most people, myself even, I'm not at that level. I don't want to navigate this by myself. I want to be told what to do.
No.
Yeah.
I could not. Yeah, so my first coach, my reverse, I didn't even have a reverse. It was basically, he was just like, I don't want to see you for 2 weeks, do whatever, eat whatever, enjoy yourself, have fun, train if you want to, do cardio if you want to, but I'll see you in 2 weeks. I was like, that's crazy. Like, I feel like I'm gonna blow up, and I did blow up. So yeah, it's really, really important. Your body just goes through so much. So and just the accountability too, because the whole prep, you can think, and I remember the entire 20 weeks, I was like, God, I've worked so hard to get here. Ain't no way in hell I'm going to ruin all this progress post show and eat a bunch of shit. But once that show is over and you don't have that next goal in mind, or even if you do have another show planned, your body is literally in survival mode. Your body is going to fight for you to survive, and your body is going to creep in your mind and make you want to eat all the stuff. And it's just natural. And like, it really doesn't have anything to do with discipline. Your body is like full on, like, what the hell is happening? We are not doing this. Especially if you're a woman, you lost your cycle, your body's going to fight you. So I think even if you know what you're doing, like you said, just having that accountability, having that person to check in with post show is going to really help you with your reverse.
100%. I can almost empathize and understand with where an inexperienced yet caring coach might say, "Oh, well, you've just worked so hard this whole time. Take 2 weeks to yourself, get back to yourself, then come back and we'll put in the work." I understand that message, but it's the wrong message. At that point in time, like anytime if somebody signs up for me to do a show, I say, yes, your show day might be this day, but we are on a diet until 8 weeks post show. That you're committed to, you're signing with me, you're signing the contract until 8 weeks post show, because you need that time and that structure. And then after those 8 weeks and they're up, however much body fat percentage, their brain's not going to play the tricks on them to nearly the same extent. Then they can go have a vacation. Don't plan a vacation the week after your show. Worst idea ever. You're not going to enjoy it, not going to feel good. You won't ever be able to eat enough food to feel full. You could come back 20 pounds overweight and hate yourself and wish that you hadn't done that. So that's my free advice. And I think we're ready for the next one, Sean.
Hi, my name is Alexis and I'm from Chicago. I heard about the podcast from a friend of mine, and I saw that you answer listener questions. So I wanted to ask, what advice would you give to someone who is new to both veganism and weightlifting? I look forward to hearing from you. Thanks so much.
Ooh. Thank you, Alexis. I don't actually know if I personally know her, so that's super nice that she wanted to reach out. Y'all, thank you, whoever is sharing this podcast. All of you can go share it right now. Put it out there, send it to the world. We're trying to offer some free value to everybody. So new to veganism and new to lifting. I didn't really, I had a couple year gap in between mine. I was vegan for 2 years before I touched a weight. So I kind of figured out nothing because I didn't know anything about nutrition. So, what would you recommend, Brooke?
I think first off, kind of like we talked about on our previous podcast, I would say beans and lentils and chickpeas and nut butters and nuts and seeds are not proteins. And you're going to see a lot of that on Instagram. And you'll find that in the Whole Foods community. And I think it's easy to kind of go down that path when you start researching veganism because that's a lot of what's out there. However, it sounds like you're getting into weightlifting, so you probably want to change your composition. You probably want to lose a little body fat, build some muscle. If that is the case, then I would make sure that you're prioritizing lean vegan proteins, and definitely listen to our previous podcast because we talked about it a little bit more in depth. But most likely you're going to be a woman in a slight calorie deficit, and you're going to want to eat your carbs. You're going to want to eat your fats and not use those on your proteins. You're going to need more food to feel full. So I would definitely prioritize some of those lean vegan proteins and not telling anyone not to eat beans, not to eat lentils. Eat them. They're really good for you. They're superfoods. They're healthy foods, but use them to supplement your protein. Don't rely on them for your protein because then you're going to go over your calories. You're going to overshoot your carbs, your fats. So I would say, if you're new to veganism, you're new to weightlifting, and you're looking to change your composition, definitely prioritize those lean vegan protein sources like seitan, tofu, tempeh, TVP. Am I missing any? Fava bean tofu.
Protein powder?
Protein powder, duh. Yeah.
I agree with everything you said. I think if I were to be starting all this over again, I'm so grateful I took the time to learn everything I did on my own. And it would have saved me a lot of years and headache if I had even worked with a coach for like a month or two before trying to do all this on my own. You'd have what I would say the value of getting a coach right now. You're going to get somebody that's already done this a few times, someone that can at least give you a meal plan and a training plan and have some sort of supplement list and those things and really just kind of get you started. I think that would be great. However, there's a lot of free information out there. What you're going to have to be careful with, there's like a Venn diagram. If you guys aren't watching them making hand movements, we have the vegan side, and then we also have the muscle building weightlifting side. And then there is a small area that does intersect the center of the Venn diagram, if you will. If you go to like a lot of vegan pages, you're still going to see people say, oh, eat beans, eat peanut butter. Those have great amounts of protein. If you're on Reddit, there's a lot of people on there that think that, and it's just outdated. It was actually just never correct. It was just what was, I don't know, somebody said it and now it's stuck. On the weightlifting side, there's going to be a lot of people that tell you can't do it as a vegan, and they're just inherently wrong. I like to look at myself when I think about that, or Brooke, or anybody that's achieved a lot in the lifting space. You can definitely do it as a vegan. So as far as like free advice, you can find tons of recipes on YouTube. I got my own, but there's tons of people that make better ones than me. Brooke has hers there. Following along on our communities on Instagram for inspiration, and then also to find friends that are doing the same thing. Like, go make some Instagram friends. It's not that hard. Drop a comment, drop a like. You'll find your own little community on there. Share recipes with people. That would cover your nutrition. As far as the training, there's a lot of free programs out there. Kind of figure out what you want to do. If you're going to the gym 3 days a week, you should probably do like upper, lower, rotate back and forth there. If you got more than those number of days in the week, you do push, pull legs, find another program. But again, getting a coach, or even if you have the ability and the funds to get like a personal trainer, a good one, find a vetted one. It's harder than it seems, actually. Somebody to kind of walk you through at least the initial setup for your lifts might be really beneficial. So I feel like we've thrown out a lot of information. Honestly, your best bet is to get a coach. Next best bet would just be start educating yourself any way that you can. At least a gram per pound of lean mass of body weight of protein a day would be a good starting point there as well. So I think
Good ones. Yeah. I like that you mentioned make some friends, because I think that's huge when you first go vegan and even start weightlifting.
yeah,
Either or, because if you're isolated in either parts of those camps, it can be a little bit more challenging to stick with it. And I know when I first went vegan, I went and I joined like a Facebook group like Vegan Atlanta. And that really helped me. And I was able to find some cool restaurants that I otherwise would not have even known about, and made some friends, found some volunteering opportunities at animal sanctuaries, met some more people. And even like you said, online friends, even if it's online friends, like having that presence on Instagram and interacting with other people just shows you like it can be done. Because like you said, there's going to be a lot of noise from people who tell you you can't achieve your goals as a vegan. So I think having a good like support system, and then also having some people to look up to who have achieved something similar to you, is really, really beneficial. So yeah, I would say follow some people on Instagram that are posting recipes, get some inspiration, and then also make some friends. Find a good community for you.
heck yeah, making me think we need to get a Vegans Who Live podcast chat group together, where people can drop recipes and stuff. Always expanding. Yeah, I mean, Instagram's great. That's where we met. If it wasn't for that, we wouldn't have this connection. And I've found so many recipes, so many companies, so many meals. Happy Cow's another good one if you're looking for restaurants around you. But even, I don't know, I feel like Google's doing a better job now. Even if you go on Google Maps and just do vegan food near me, you'll get a good list. Yeah, I think they're two different. They're two different. I was gonna say beasts or animals. I don't know if that's animal friendly, but they are two very different things. Vegan nutrition is it's a whole game, and then training is its whole game. Mixing them together isn't actually that hard, but they are two very different things to learn here. So, thank you for asking, Alexis. I really genuinely appreciate that. Got some good conversation going. I believe Sean will give me the thumbs up here. I think that was the last one that we had queued up for this podcast. Um, yes, that is correct. So, any parting words? Anything fun you're doing this this upcoming weekend, Brooke?
Well, I'm planning to see my nieces, which is always always it's always fun. It's always a roller coaster. They're a blast. I've got my oldest niece. I think she's 5 now. She just turned 5, which is absolutely crazy. Jeez. Um, she's super into Legos. Loves Legos, and so like she every time I come over, because she knows I love Legos, she like pulls them all out and shows me, and she's adorable. So yeah, and other than that, I just got back in town, so I'll probably run a few errands and like get groceries and stuff, but that's pretty much it for the weekend. Yeah, how about you?
The complete opposite. The opposite of chill. I'm heading to Miami today. Gonna meet up with Sean the next 3 days. We're gonna train. We are recording modules. I have my nutrition module for the community plan that's coming out, so I'm excited for that. We're meeting with our contact Diego to finalize some stuff for the Vegan Foodie Fest that we're gonna have next year in Miami. I hope I'm allowed to say that. I know there's a little delay before this one comes out. But yeah, it's going to be a lot, and probably going out to eat and navigating, making my macros fit. But yeah. Oh, and Allie's coming along. Thank God. Thank God for Allie. She's going to help drive and, keep me sane throughout all of this. She's like, I'm looking at our schedule for the next month, and I'm getting a little anxious here. And I'm like, yeah, I'm sure you are, because it just has stuff on the calendar. It has all the days blocked off, but like I haven't made itineraries for her. So she's an angel. She's just going along. She's like, well, I'll just be there and we'll figure it out. And I'm like, that's how it's gonna go. I don't know. I'm getting a little overwhelmed myself because then in September, on the September 11th and 12th, I'll be in New York. We're gonna drive to New York to do the Plant-Based World Expo. Sean will also be there. Vegans Explore will be there, and yeah, I'm out of town every week for like the next 5 weeks. So, woohoo!
Fun, yeah. Actually, I think that would be great though for clients, potentially who travel a lot and they struggle, with staying on track. I think you could definitely give them a good advice. You could just kind of experiment with it so that you can help them.
That's actually a great idea. I need to kind of reframe it and think like how could I use this as a test for myself that I can share with others and show that they can do it too. So I'll be bringing some prep meals and some protein powder and some TVP and stuff like that, and then probably having one meal off a day that I do my best to track. And since I'm trying to track it, I won't go crazy. I won't get the pancakes and the burger and the fries and the appetizer and 3 of the desserts. I'll just do the pancakes and
That's
But,
hilarious.
cool, dude. Well, I had fun with this Q&A. I think we should do it more.
Yeah, leave us questions, guys.
veganswholivepodcast.com. You can drop them there. You can be like Rachel, like Alex, like Samantha, like Alexis, and leave us some cool questions for us to answer. So that's all I got. You want to sign us off, Brooke?
Yeah, thanks guys for tuning in and supporting the podcast as always. Make sure you share it with your friends, your family, Alex's goats, everybody. Yes. And yeah, see you guys next time.
Peace.